Finnish Nordic Expo and Nordic Pro 2006, and I got here with me the man Brad Rowe from the United States, IFBB Pro, and as we like to call you, the working man's bodybuilder.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, how was your show last night? You placed sixth.
Sixth place, yeah. You know, it was a pretty good lineup. You know, I was happy with the package I brought. I was my all-time best, which is all we can ask for. I came in a little flat, and I think that hurt me a couple placings. You know, if I was as full as I was, you know, the few weeks following into it, I think I definitely could have been fighting for a top three. But, you know, we live and learn, and the beauty about bodybuilding is we have another opportunity to become better. So I have a little less than 3 more weeks before I'm at the Ferrigno Legacy in California, and it's on my home turf, just a 2-hour drive, so it's very easy, and, you know, I can focus on that.
You actually arrived here like a few days before, like on Thursday or Wednesday?
Yes, we arrived Wednesday evening.
So did the long flight kind of hurt your conditioning? Do you feel like you hold water after a long flight?
No, I actually I got off the flight extremely dry. You know, my coach was very surprised at how dry I was. You know, I travel well, and I'm smart when I travel. You know, I keep lots of water in, and I wear compression clothes and stuff like that, so I don't hold water. I get up on the flights and I walk around and move my legs and get everything going. So the flight wasn't really that much of an impact as far as the package that I brought here at all. You know, and KP did an amazing job as a promoter. The hospitality that we got for the hotel, the convenience of everything with the shopping mall there, and you know, providing us drivers and translators. You know, definitely a top-notch production that he's put on so far.
Yeah, that's what everybody's saying. That this is one of the nicest pro shows to be part of.
Without a doubt. You know, this is my 9th pro show, and definitely one of the best.
Talking about coaches, you used to be with Chris Aceto, but
yes,
but now you're with Matt Jensen.
Yes, so I was with Chris Aceto for 3 years, and you know, this winter I just felt like my body needed to change. Not like Chris did anything wrong. You know, just sometimes a different perspective, a different approach to things can kind of pull something a little different out of the athlete. I really liked Matt's training protocols, and through some of our conversations and stuff, he's really in tune with digestion. He likes to utilize a lot of fats in his diet, which is something that Chris doesn't use. So, you know, I just wanted to try something different, and I was very happy with you know, the size that I put on this year and changes in my physique.
And Chris, he doesn't too much interfere with the training.
No. Chris is just strictly diet. You know, and sometimes it's good to have a coach that controls both environments, so they know that, you know, especially in those last coming weeks, they know how much intensity you're putting into your training, so they know how much food to give you and other things like that, or they know, hey, you're training back tomorrow and that's a weak point, so maybe we should give you a little more food for that, or hey, you're training legs and your legs are great, so we can pull back calories on legs and use that as kind of like a burning, a deficit phase.
Matt Jensen, he seems to be kind of like riding on a little bit of a highway.
You know,
now was that kind of part of your decision, or do you know him from?
Matt and I have had communicated for a few months, over a year now. You know, he was kind of a fan of mine on Facebook, and you know, he knew that I had digestive issues. So when problems came up, you know, he'd shoot me a message, say, hey, buddy, have you ever tried, you know, using this product or try this, you know, to help out with digestion, because he's really in tune with things like that. So we communicated a lot, and just through that, I was grateful of his knowledge and just his openness to reach out to me and try to provide feedback. And I saw what he's done with Dallas. You know, he also worked alongside Justin Compton for a long time. So, you know, and I know that he works with Neil Hill, and he just kind of, things just kind of seemed to click, you know, with what he was providing. So, you know, I kind of jumped ship, and, you know, I'm happy with the decision I made.
Last year you did a lot of shows.
Yes.
You did a lot of shows, and you got your first Olympia qualification. How did that feel?
I mean, that was amazing. So last year was technically my rookie year. And like I said, it took me 7 shows to qualify, to get enough points. I was actually qualified a long time ago, but I kept, you know, trying to collect points just in case, you know, someone had caught up to me. So, you know, I put my wife through the ringer, and the Olympia was my last show last year, and that was just an utterly amazing experience to step on stage with the best in the industry. And, you know, it was one of those moments. I just remember sitting back there before the meet and greet. No, it was before the interviews.
The press conference.
The press conference, and I'm sitting there having a political conversation with Branch and Phil Heath and Johnny Jackson, and I'm like, holy shit! Like, I've arrived. Like, this is the coolest moment in the world.
Do you see yourself ever like up there competing for the like top 6?
No. I don't. I think potentially I might be able to be a top 10 guy, but never a top 6.
Huh.
I just structurally I just don't have what it takes. I don't have that crazy round muscle that a lot of these guys. I'll be able to pack on some size, but my biggest thing is I want to try to make my body more aesthetic. I'm naturally blocky through the waist. I naturally have a larger protruding stomach. I always have as a kid. So my goal in bodybuilding is to try to just make my chest larger, make my shoulders larger, try to keep my waistline down, and try to build on my proportions to make my physique more pleasant looking rather than just be a mass monster. And I just don't have the frame to hang with those kind of guys. So
talking about the crazy bubbling muscle, you used to train with Sean Roden, right?
Yes, yeah. Sean and I were training partners for like 2.5, almost 3 years, and he's just one of those freaks. He looks at weight and grows. Same thing like
I hate those fucking guys.
Right. Yeah.
I fucking hate those guys.
Us white boys with white boy genetics, and and that was another reason why I kind of switched things up with Matt. We trained with Charles Glass, and I love Charles, and Charles is an amazing trainer, and training with Sean was an amazing opportunity, motivational. But what I need for training and what they need for training are two totally different things.
You gotta find your own way.
Right. And Matt was more attuned to my style of training. It's more like the Dorian. Heavyweight, high volume, lots of power movements. I need that crazy dense style training in order to add the muscle mass that I need. So that's why I had to switch things up.
That's actually what I was going to ask next. Like, how is your training? If let's not go too in depth into it, but are you more into like heavyweights or more like volume? Both.
I'm one of those crazy bastards that do both.
Yeah.
I like to keep rep ranges. Typically like if I can get 6 to 10 rep range with the heaviest weight as possible, fatigue in that area, but then I'll train for 2.5 hours. My workouts go long, and I don't take long rest periods either. I'm maybe 90 seconds max in my rest periods. I overtrain, but with Matt we incorporated a lot of intensity techniques like double drop sets, rest pause sets, things like that. So when you are training alone and you don't have someone for assisted reps, you can still get the most out of your workouts. But to me, I love training again this year. Last year training with injuries and just the style of training I was training with Charles and them, I didn't like the gym anymore. And when it becomes a job, you lose your luster for it. And this year,
it's definitely time for change.
Right. It is. Matt was like, we need to start doing deadlifts, shit like that, and that was stuff that I grew up doing. I grew up as a football player. I played football in college. So it was all deadlift squats. So Matt had me squatting again, had me deadlifting again. And I was deadlifting up to 700 something pounds. And that's just fun. And every day you walk in the gym and you have this mindset to beat that next fucking rep. Beat that PR. And that made training fun again for me this year, on top of doing what I needed to do to get better.
As a professional bodybuilder, what do you see as your the strong points in your physique?
Oh, my legs. My legs hands down are a strong point, and really that has nothing to do with my training technique. That has to do with mom and dad, good genetics. I call a spade a spade. It is what it is. I've always had good legs, and we've improved upon them this year. My weakest points are definitely my back, which has come up a good amount, and I'd say chest. So those are things that we still got to keep improving on. Like I said, I was really happy with how I looked 3 or 4 weeks ago. I was in the 250s and big and round, and I made a ton of improvements. We just dieted down too hard, and it's mistakes we make, but that muscle tissue is still there, so I know I can gain that back soon.
But one thing I think that every time you go up there, you're always conditioned.
Right.
Like even if you can maybe felt like you're not, but you're still compared to a lot of these guys.
Right.
You're fucking spot on.
And that's something that in my mind as a professional, fucking show up in shape.
Yeah.
I do not get guys that come up looking like they're guest posing or looking like they're 4 weeks out. It's your fucking job to get in shape. I know that bodybuilding isn't a conditioning contest. It's a bodybuilding contest, but conditioning is part of it. And some of these guys showing up in the shape they do is just, it's a disgrace to themselves. I'd be embarrassed to step on stage. Last year when I was getting ready for shows, so it was a last minute decision to do the cow, the first show that I did in 2015. And we were pushing it, and Aceto was like, we're going to be ready. And I told the promoters, I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm going to be ready to step on stage. They're like, you look great, I'm like, what you think might look great isn't what I think looks great. I do not want to get up there and embarrass myself. I want to show up with a respectable amount of conditioning. So luckily things, you know, came in and I looked okay. But that's my number one thing is I'm not going to be the big mass guy.
Have you ever like step off from a show like like a few days or a week or something like that, like before, if you felt that you were not in a
No,
you have always been able to bring it.
I've always brought it. You know, whether it looked like that on stage, you know, through my amateur career when I was trying to turn pro, you know, we've had a few mishaps with other previous coaches with digestive issues, you know, like extreme constipation, things that people don't think about as a bodybuilder. If you can't take a shit before a show, you'd be amazed at how poorly your physique looks. Because you hold water. Well, not just that, but you hold water.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as you go, you dry out. So I've had issues before where I was bloated and I didn't go. After prejudging, I went to the bathroom and it was a totally different physique at night. So it's
Can
amazing.
we go again?
Yeah, it's amazing how the body changes. But no, I've never showed up and stepped on stage except for like my first bodybuilding shows when I was an amateur, where I was like, all right, you know, I could have been leaner. So
you have been living in Los Angeles for a few years.
5 years.
5 years. But you're originally from the East Coast.
Yes, originally from New Hampshire. Born and raised there. Went to college in New York. Grad school in Philadelphia.
So how do you find like the you're training at the legendary Venice I've actually visited there once.
Yeah, beautiful gym.
Yeah, I loved it. A lot of people though.
Yes, a lot.
Fucking crowded.
It can get frustrating, honestly.
So how do you like because the kind of like the image how we perceive the like East Coast West Coast thing from here at least is that like the East Coast is the like real hardcore kind of like
it really is.
We're working in a rusty fucking basement gyms, and then you go to California and it's more like surfer boys pumping up. How do you find that?
You know,
that change kind of like coming into Los Angeles? And
it really is. Honestly, I mean, on the East Coast, obviously you have some uppity gyms in New York and things like that. But like if you go through New Jersey and a lot of the East Coast, it's a lot of just gritty basement style gyms. The mentality's a little tougher. I think it's an environmental thing. Like out here, you have winter, you have cold. You know, it's different. You know, in California, the weather's beautiful all the time. People don't understand the suffering that it takes when it's cold
they
as
should
shit.
They should come here in a couple of months.
And you have to shovel your car out from the snow at 4 a.m. just to go do your cardio. You know, I think that toughens you a little bit. So I think that's a mentality that the East Coasters have that's lost in California. The gym, you know, Gold's Gym it's a little gritty. You know, it's not as fancy as people like to think. There's no air conditioning. There's no heat. So like this summer, you know, right before we came here, we had a couple days where it was 100 degrees. Yeah. And you're trying to train at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's 100 degrees in the gym with no fans, no air conditioning. That's a bitch.
Yeah, that's pretty harsh too. That'd be pretty harsh too.
It's hard on your body, you know. And then we get mornings where it gets down in the low 40s. Yeah. And you're trying to do cardio and it's 40 degrees in the gym because there's no heat. So you're in there in a full sweatsuit, you know, trying to do cardio. But, you know, definitely the mentality on the East Coast is a lot tougher minded, I think, than West Coast. And I don't want to knock West Coast, but that's just my East Coast bias.
And you're also kind of like besides being a professional bodybuilding, you got some other business. You're doing a lot of personal training.
Yes, I do personal training. I had a big meal prep company for a while. We shut that down. I had issues with my business partner, but I still prep some meals for clients. It's something I'm trying to get away from just because it's so consuming. You know, it's really hard to get away and travel. Like, you know, if I have to go to a show and be gone for 5 or 6 days, I got to tell clients, hey, you know, sorry, you're not going to get food. So I'm trying to dissipate from that. You know, then I do commercial acting work, which helps out a ton. The biggest benefits of that are union insurance, health insurance, which saves us big time. You know, and then online coaching. I have probably about 30 some odd athletes that I coach online. You know, my wife, she works her ass off too. You know, she does marketing and event coordinating. So, you know, we stay busy. We're always on the hustle.
So, yeah, kind of like, there were like some, not a controversy, but some talks about IFBB professionals, like how they're not making money and who's responsible. Is the IFBB responsible for paying guys more? Are the sponsor responsible for paying the guys more? How do you view that? Like,
I mean, it's tough. You know, other sports have unions which fight for you. We don't have a union, and that's never going to happen. You know, I look at I look at bodybuilding, it's more of a hobby. You know, it's really hard to make a profession out of it. This day and age in social media, you have an ability to brand yourself and to make money off your brand. And that's something that a lot of guys don't take advantage of. And it's something that even I don't take full advantage of. My wife's getting pretty good at it, and we're trying to work on that. But you know, we have friends that never even step on stage that just put out crazy videos that are making $20,000 a month through YouTube and other things like that.
Look at guys like Rich Piana.
Right. You know, so you know, there's ways to make money. You got to think outside the box. No one's just going to hand you anything in life, you know. And I think too many people expect, oh, I turn pro and I'm going to get paid $120,000 contract and just eat, sleep, and train. That doesn't happen. You know, there's very few guys, top 3, top 5, maybe, that make enough money through contracts to survive. But those contracts, they go quick. You know, you can be cut at a heartbeat. So you really need to create your own thing. You know, it is hard. When I first started, I was doing construction. You know, I'm framing houses and I'm trying to get ready for bodybuilding shows, and that was tough. So my life now is a cake. You know, training people, that's not that hard. You know, let's just be realistic. You know, so I'm in a good situation.
You're still in a place you like to be.
Right. I mean,
at the gym.
It can get overwhelming. You know, I took on more clients this year during this prep. I was training, you know, 5 to 6 clients a day these last 5 weeks. You know,
while you were on prep.
Right, while in prep, you know, I'm in the gym for myself at 2.5 hours in the morning, plus my 2.5 hours of training. So I was in the gym for 10 to 13 hours a day, which after a while it can get draining. You know, you get annoyed with people real easy. You know, if you're, you know, so it's.
And kind of like with all their problems and their little.
You're a psychiatrist.
A lot of people kind of like. The way I see it, a lot of people turn to personal trainers, not so much as to get into a better shape, but just to talk with someone.
Just that you're a psychiatrist. A lot. And you know, but I've created some great friendships, and my clients are awesome. You know, every one of my clients are friends of mine now at this point in life, and they're a big staple in my life. And they're very flexible. So like, say I get an audition, hey, you know, I'm sorry, last minute I got to go here, or hey guys, you know what, I'm tired as fuck. You know, can we push your training session back an hour so I can try to take a 30-minute nap here and try to recollect myself? They're great. My clients are really awesome. You know, it's I have a great situation going on.
Oh, here's my wife, by the way.
Oh, how are you? Pleasure to meet you, dear. Oh, there you go.
Oota, mä vaihdan tän vaan. Miten se menee?
No, mä voin vetää se. I don't have to change that. Because I'm not going to keep you for too long.
No problem.
So, what's next for Brad Rowe?
So next I have the Frigno Legacy in a little under 3 weeks. And then...
Well, let's say for the next like 12 months, so on.
See what happens at the Frigno. You know, if I come on stage 10 pounds heavier like I should have here, like I know that I can be, I know that I'm a lot more competitive. So depending on who shows up, if I get a win, I don't know. I might shut it down just to shoot for the Olympia next year, or you know, do something later.
So that's an Olympia qualifier.
Yes, yep, Olympia qualifier. But honestly, I want to start traveling more. I want to start doing more international shows. I would love to do the Arnold Australia, but I think that's a little too close right now for me to make improvements till then. But hitting up some of those smaller Arnold circuits and working on branding, as I talked about with social media, things like that. Building my brand overseas, you know, to help, you know, create income.
Well, this one has at least 5 million potential viewers.
Well,
we're doing this actually in English, so it's a bit better. Because this is such a small country in Finland. So, but what I want to ask you, kind of like as a professional bodybuilder, do you guys like, as you said yourself that you don't see yourself as a top 6 Olympia guy. So are you looking at these different shows? And then you're like looking like, who's coming to this one, who's coming to that one. What's the show I can get the win out of?
No, without a doubt. You know, I especially at this point in my career where, you know, I'm still a lower 3rd tier athlete, I would say. You know, I need to be smart in choosing my shows. You know, me jumping into the Arnold Classic is stupid. You know, I'm gonna get my ass kicked. Why? You know, I thought about going to the Olympia Germany here. But again, you know, I know there's no way I'm gonna make top 5. So why take that time, put my body through all that stress to go out there to do that? So it's smarter. Like this show, I knew it was gonna be a good lineup. And I know that a lot of post-Olympia guys were gonna come, but I wanted to do 2 shows this year. And
on this show, to be honest, I think I thought you had the chance to be like top, like 3rd, 4th easily. But
I mean, it was
what
close.
it is.
You know, it
always,
was close. It was close. So, you know, like I said, things turned out luckily where I was in a fighting position to make top 5. But coming into the show, I knew that, hey, you know what? We're just going to do this to try to be my best, because I wanted to hit 2 shows this year, and the only other option was this in the Frigno, because I have friends that are coming the weekend of Italy, so I can't do the Italy show. So, you know, and it was an opportunity for me to build an international fan base and to get out there. And hopefully, you know, maybe if I could stand next to a William Bonac and people see, wow, Brad doesn't look too horrible next to him. You know, that's not a bad thing. So,
I mean,
you know,
that guy was 5th at the Olympia.
Right,
so.
right. You know, so you do gotta kind of, I pick and choose my battles. You know, I was actually going to jump into Hong Kong. And then I saw the lineup, and I was like, lineup by Aki, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? It's not worth it. I'm better off taking more time to get ready for this next show. And then you see the guys show up out of shape. Like I talked about, lineup by Aki looked like horrible. You know, no offense, but just show up in shape and you're going to win the fucking Olympia.
It's true.
He's a top 2, top 3 guy if he gets shredded. You know, so it's tough to kind of have the vision to see exactly who's going to show up and how they're going to show up. But someone at my level does need to be smart about picking their shows.
So, because so many times you hear the competitors, like on amateur level say that it's better to have, like, it's better to lose to a good lineup than to win in a poor lineup. And to be honest, I think that's kind of like bullshit, because if you look like a few years down the line, nobody remembers what was the lineup like. But, oh yeah, that was a tough lineup, and he was a very good because he came in 4th. Only the winners remember, basically.
No,
and you look at the statistics.
Like you said, it's all about marketing. You know, sponsors, they don't want to pay for you to go get your asses kicked. You know, so it's about being smart early in your career till you get to a point where you say, I can hang with almost anybody, and then go wherever you want.
All right, hey, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate this.
Thank you for taking the time. I know you are you flying back today?
No, tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning. Yeah.
All right,
so we're gonna go and finish packing up. I made all my meals for the flight already, and
cool.
take a nap and shower and head on our way back to California.
Usually my meal in when I fly long flights, it's usually the king size bag of M&Ms. That's why I feel so shitty on a plane. Gotta take care of that. All right, hey, thank you very much, and
thank you, sir.
All the good for in the future.